Penny Bunton, welcome.
Hi.
What do you take out of what you've heard so far? There you are, a clinical psychologist, lecturer at the University of Manchester, a whole array of points of view aired. What do you want to pick up on?
OK, well, first of all, I agree entirely with Sir Al Ainsley-Green that it was a very interesting study. From a clinical psychology perspective, it doesn't really raise anything we didn't already know. However, if it puts these issues back on the agenda, then that's got to be a good thing. Some of the points that have been raised about these issues regarding choice and autonomy, I think, are quite important. But if we don't give
within
children...
boundaries,
within boundaries, but also if we do not give children these opportunities to make choices and to have some autonomy in their decision making, and indeed, if we don't model our decision making processes to them, allow them to take part in conversations, allow them to model and observe adults making good decisions, how do we expect them to learn to make those decisions themselves? So I think there is a balanced perspective here that needs to be had. I also think it's really important that we tease out this issue of unhappiness versus mental health, because they aren't the same thing. And in fact, on one page of this report, it says that there's only an overlap between low life satisfaction and mental health problems of 6% of individuals. So they are different issues, and really it's not realistic to entirely remove sadness from children's lives. In fact, arguably, if we do that, we're actually not really preparing them for future
Yes, because
life.
you've got to learn how to deal with it when it happens, haven't you?
Absolutely. They need learning opportunities, but they need to be given those learning opportunities in a safe and boundaried way, and they need adults to be there to support them and to allow them to make some of those decisions and overcome some of those challenges and develop resilience for future.
I want to race through some calls, then I'll come back to all three of you. Penny Bunton, is there anything to suggest that people who are in a position to help because they're qualified to help are not able to help because there are somehow problems or obstructions to them doing so?
I think it is an important issue to consider how we offer support to parents and families and children who are either at risk or are experiencing difficulties. I think we need to be much more creative about how we provide access to services and think much more about using schools and within local communities. That, there is no doubt that there is a squeeze on mental health services as such, but actually we need to be taking a much more proactive approach and fostering children's resilient skills and coping skills and indeed parents' skills at an early stage to prevent these problems from occurring in the first place. At the University of Manchester, we have a very strong programme around parenting interventions and interventions in schools, and most of those are focused on the very early stages, some at primary school, at preschool stage. In fact, in Manchester, there's a very well-developed programme through Sure Start. These types of interventions are very good at offering parents the appropriate support at the time, perhaps when they don't necessarily need it, but it gives them equips them for future dilemmas and difficulties that they might face.
Penny Bunton is in the studio with me. She's smiling. React to what you've just heard, Penny.
Yeah, I mean, I do take these points, and I think actually, even as an adult, many of us would rather be out enjoying ourselves in the sunshine, and it would probably be much more beneficial to our well-being.
But we can't all do that.
Absolutely. But I do think we need to be very careful not to pathologise this idea of unhappiness. I think many of the new wave approaches to cognitive and behavioural therapy and psychology focus on this idea of acceptance of who you are in life and a pursuit of activity that's congruent with your values, rather than this relentless pursuit of some externally derived notion of happiness. So we need to equip people to be able to find their own happiness. I think there was one of the callers earlier made that point, that actually it's about adjusting our expectations to what makes us happy and what makes us feel fulfilled, rather than praising ourselves against other people, which invariably ends up in a negative light. Yeah.